So, I'm going to spend the next 7 days surviving in Grounded 2. In those 7 days, I want to go from having nothing to having a base, armor, weapons, and the supplies to conquer any challenges the game has to offer. But is 7 days, or roughly 3.5 hours of playtime, enough to finish everything I have planned? Let's find out. Day 1 starts with me spawning inside of what seems to be a science facility. I have a look around exploring and trying to find anything that might be helpful. I also make some questionable choices about where to stick my arm, but that's fine, I now have a watch fused to my wrist. After exploring the place for a little while longer, I run into a room which tries to teach me how to craft. Keyword being try. I'm a loot goblin, so I'm going to pick up everything in here first. There may only be sticks and rocks in this room, but they are going to be my sticks and rocks. After finally crafting my spear, the next room teaches me about combat. I am attacked by what can only describe as 2 angry red nuggets, which go down pretty quickly. After defeating the 2 angry red nuggets, I hear a phone ringing from a nearby room. I answer the phone and see a robot head asking for help.
Hi there, bad news, I have sustained damage, please! Hi, Virgil, please fix Virgil!
He seems to be in a little bit of trouble. I can't do anything for the little guy right now, so I continue on. Soon after that, I reach the outside world and make a dreadful discovery. Oh wow, I'm short. After leaving the science facility, I have a look around the area and I find a small ranger outpost. I look around inside and find something called an Omniax. It sounds pretty useful, so I grab it. As I'm leaving, I hear a phone ringing from the next room, but I can't get through because the door's locked. I start looking for another way around, and conveniently, there's a blue marker just above this cave. So I'm thinking it's probably this way. The next time I go walking through a dark cave, I'm probably going to bring a torch though. At the end of the cave, I find a way into the room with the phone. I reach the phone and I start talking with a woman called Salone. She tells me that she'll help me if I help her find one of her employees in the park.
I'm sorry to ask, but we could really use some help locating her.
I agree to help her find her missing employee, but before I do anything else, I'm going to set up camp for the night. I spend some time gathering nearby resources, as well as scanning them in the ranger station. I also build a small base outside, as well as unlock the Omni-Tool hammer and the Omni-Tool shovel upgrades. By now it is getting pretty dark though, so I should get some sleep and prepare for the next day. My goal for day 2 is to find the Omniscient employee from yesterday, but first I need to make some armor to protect myself. I use the nearby resources and craft myself a water bottle, a shield, and some basic clover armor in preparation for the rescue mission, storing any extra resources I get in storage baskets. I start heading out in the direction of the map marker and meet some ants on the way, which gives me the perfect chance to test my new armor. The ants go down pretty quickly, and now I have some ant parts I can use. A short walk after that, I find the cave where the employee is supposed to be. Learning from my previous experience, I equip a torch and start exploring. Going down the path on the right, I run into a stone barrier which is quickly broken using the Omni-Tool hammer I unlocked yesterday. I keep going down the path and find the soldier ant. After a short battle with him, that definitely did not end with me losing half of my health. Ow! You little But it does seem like the Omniscient employee had it a bit worse than me. I found their skeleton and a recording nearby which makes me think they went just a little bit insane working on bug riding technology.
They're hiding the eggs so they could steal my hatchery design. Oh, I know it. Well, I can hide my work too.
I start trying to find my way back out of the caves, but I have the sense of direction of a drunk wombat. I find the milk molar instead of the exit, which I instantly use on boosting my hit points. After running around for a little bit more, I find my way out of the caves and start making my way back to the ranger station to tell Salone what happened. Once I get back, I tell her about the employee's fate and about the bug riding technology the employee was working on. Salone asks me if I would continue the bug riding research, and I once again agree to help.
With your help, we might be able to complete this research.
I quickly grab the hatchery research from the terminal, as well as the grass floor research. Now I only need the roof research and I should be able to start making myself a base. I head outside and craft a pebblet great hammer to keep with me for later, and I place the blueprint of the hatchery over at the other side of the base. The hatchery needs some stems which I quickly get from nearby dandelion plants. It also needs some acorn shells, so I look into the sky to find the acorn tree and start heading roughly in that direction. I find a few acorns on the way and crack them open. but then I run into a large spider guarding two of them. Oh no. Hey, little buddy, can you maybe go somewhere else? I kinda need those. Yeah, he got off easy. I could have taken him. After bravely facing the giant spider, I grab the remaining acorn and milk molar, and I save the milk molar so I can get a health upgrade later on. After gathering a few more acorns, I head back and scan all the items I got from the little adventure. After scanning everything, I unlock the ability to make sap collectors, which I then go make a few of them on the side of the nearby tree roots. I'll be needing a lot of sap for bandages and building, so having a steady supply of it is going to be pretty helpful. For the rest of the day, I try and fill in the resources for both the sap collectors and the hatchery before night time. Fully finishing the hatchery and almost finishing the sap collectors, they only need a few more pieces of rope. But by now, it is starting to get pretty dark, so I go to sleep, putting an end to day 2. I start day 3 by heading back towards the acorn tree and picking up any plant fibre along the way. I'll need the plant fibre to make rope, so I can finish off the sap collectors from yesterday. I also grab any acorns that I see so I can make acorn armour. The armour will help me survive just a little bit longer against some of the bigger bugs in the park. A few bugs attacked me while I'm searching the area, but I'm feeling a little bit more confident now, so I decide to fight them, defeating a small spider and a bombardier beetle. But then I do get jump scared by a scorpion. Shortly after that, on my way back home, I get jumped by a group of enemies. Being outnumbered and at low health, I decide to run for my life. I jump onto a nearby mushroom and decide to wait for the enemy to leave. After barely escaping and healing up, I return to base, scanning all of the new bug parts that I found. I also unlock the clover roof tiles, using the raw science I've been getting from passively finishing the ranger tasks. I leave the ranger station and make myself some acorn armour, and finish off the sap collectors using the plant fibre rope. After that, I decide to take the new armour on an adventure, and start peeping the enemies in the area to learn their weaknesses. While scouting the area for enemies to peep, I found a cave with a milk molar inside. I used this to boost my health for the second time. But now that I have better armour, I'm starting to think of making a better weapon to go along with it. So I go back to base and check what resources I'll need to make the Crimson Saber. I need some grub hides, so I spend the rest of the day finding grubs hidden underground. I'll also need some red soldier ant parts, but that will have to be a task for another day, because it's starting to get late. I start looking around the base, thinking about where I could place a house nicely here, but I decide to leave that until another day and get some sleep. At the start of day 4, I clear my inventory and make some food and bandages, because today I'm going to try and steal a soldier ant egg from the ant's nest. Once I am prepared for battle, I head towards the ant hill. Not much happens on the way, but once I get there, I look into the hole and equip a torch ready to go inside. The soldier ants don't seem to like that I'm in here, and I definitely don't want to get surrounded by them, so I decide to take them on one at a time, because even with my new acorn armour, a group of them could be dangerous. I slowly fight my way through the cave, and find some marble and quartz along the way, which should come in handy later. I also find some underground ominent facilities, and I fill my water bottle up inside of one. But little did I know, lurking in the dark winding tunnels, I would meet my biggest problem. My own sense of direction. I spent most of the day running backwards and forwards in the tunnels, lost. But after what seemed like forever, I found a room with some red soldier ant eggs. Now a sensible person would go back the way they came once they got the egg, because all the enemies have already been cleared, right? But I'm not a sensible person, so I just keep going through the cave and hope for the best. The pathway behind the eggs leads up, so it must go to the surface. Maybe. Along the way, I find more soldier ants, which I quickly defeat until... Oh no, there's 2 of them. I get attacked by 2 soldier ants. I try and take them out, trying to pin one behind the other so that I don't get double teamed, and I keep jabbing at the ants when it's safe until one of them is defeated. After that, I quickly finish off the other one. After the tense battle, I continue through the cave, eventually reaching an exit, but the relief is short-lived because just outside of the cave is a mob of red ants who don't look happy about me stealing their eggs. So I do the only sensible thing in this situation. I run away. On my way back home, I run into a spider, which adds to the whole problem of everything chasing me, but in the distance I see my base. It doesn't offer much safety, but it's still home. Once I get into my base though, I look around and the only thing still following me is one single red ant, which I can quickly deal with. Now that I'm home and the danger has passed, I go to the hatchery and start hatching the egg. Then, for the rest of the day, I gather some grass planks in preparation for when I make my base. Once it starts to get dark though, I head to my lean-to and go to sleep, putting an end to day 4. Day 5 starts with me finding food and water. This has become pretty quick now as I have a routine down, but I did get jumped by a spider while finding the food. Which did remind me I should make a sword soon. And right now seems like a good time to do it, so I head back and make the sword, and then go to the hatchery to see how the egg is doing. To my surprise, the egg is already ready to hatch. As the egg hatches, I stare at my new little buggy friend for a second before jumping into the saddle. Riding the ant surprisingly feels very natural. I can move around and grab items from the ground really easily. But as I'm testing my new companion's capabilities, I hear a voice from a mysterious stranger.
Hi. Don't be too afraid. Not yet. Your Scabby 2K was so easy to hack into.
She tells me that she's hacked into the device on my wrist and warns me that she won't let me get comfortable in her park. I quickly go and tell Salone about the mysterious stranger, and she tells me about how this stranger ambushed the dominant employees in the park. She tells me I should go find an optical drive that has some research on it that can help me defend my base. The optical drive is only a short distance to the north, so it should be pretty quick to find. But there is one problem with that. I don't have a base to defend yet. So I decide to spend the rest of the day planning out and making a small gatehouse. The plan is to build the gatehouse between the rocks and the curved route close to the ranger station. I start by placing stem support blueprints below and then cover the top of those with grass planks. Once I was happy with the blueprint placement, it was time to gather the stems to fill in the blueprints. So I start looking along the top of the grass for dandelions. Once I see some dandelions poking over the top of the grass, I go and collect the stems with the help of my new buggy friend. I bring the stems back and work on the foundation until it's fully built. I then start working on the grass floor, cutting down all the nearby grass and storing it in the pallets nearby. I then fill in the grass floors whenever the pallets become full. After a little while, the floor is finished and it's time to start working on the walls next. But before that, I mark out where I would like the balcony to be with 2 grass half floors. I then start placing the wall blueprints, using vertical half walls so I can replace them with vertical stem walls later on. I finish the walls off with some triangle walls above the sides of the house and above the balcony, which will help when placing the roof later on. I take a quick look around to make sure this is what I want before using any resources. And it's looking pretty good so far, so I decide to fill it in. But now it's starting to get dark, so I quickly fill in the walls and door of this little side room here and move my lean-to into the room. Now I can spend the night inside of something that somewhat resembles a house. There's no roof yet, but that's going to be tomorrow's problem now. It's day 6 and it's time to finish the house. After I grab some food and water, I start chopping down more grass with a buggy in preparation to finish the walls. Having this little guy around makes this step go so much faster. Piece by piece the walls are filled in, and once the final piece is placed, it is time to start working on the roof. The roof is going to be made of the large sloped roof tiles, other than this middle part here. I use some triangle roof tiles here following the shape of the wall, just to make the front of the balcony stand out a little bit more. Filling in the roof tiles takes most of the day. I run out of sap, stems and clover leaves multiple times throughout the day, going back out for more each time I do run out. But the last 5 days in the garden have given me a pretty good idea of where to find these resources quickly, and the speed of the buggy helps a lot as well. After running back and forward all day slowly making progress on the roof, I finally finish it. And right here is where I could stop, as it's already a functional base. But I do like my bases to look pretty, so I'm going to add some overhangs to the front and sides with the rest of the time left today. I would put some flat overhangs between the sloped overhangs, but I won't be able to finish those today, as my resource gathering spree is put to an end as it becomes nighttime. So I head home, and thankfully I have enough to finish the decorative parts of the roof. I walk into my new home and start mentally planning out where to put all the furniture tomorrow before I get some sleep. Day 7, and today I want to fill the house with everything I'm going to use, such as storage boxes and crafting benches. I start by moving all the things I've built near the umbrella into the house, and after everything's moved in, I place some light blueprints around so it will be easier to see when it gets dark. After gathering some resources and filling in the light blueprints, I start making my storage area. I place this first row of boxes on the floor, and then I make a half floor above them to make a shelf. This lets me build even more storage boxes in this small space, and after a quick resource run, I come back and fill in all the box blueprints. After that, I make some spinning wheels in the corner, and honestly I probably should have made at least one of these a lot sooner so I could have made cheaper rope. But now it's time to get some clay to finish building these. While looking for the clay, I find the milk molar hidden in a paper cup, and I decide to save the upgrade point from the milk molar until later. I run back to the house and finish off the spinning wheels, and build one more just to make sure I have enough. After that, I head out to collect the resources for a drying rack, which is the next thing I want to make. I start looking for the bombardier beetle that I ran into on day 3, and I find the little guy hiding inside of a ditch. After a small battle, which my buggy seems to be a little too timid to join in on, I get the parts I need to make the drying rack and start heading back towards base again. I place the drying rack in the corner and fill in the blueprint with the bug parts, but I do run out of rope. I go outside and use the buggy to quickly get some plant fibre, and then use that plant fibre to make rope and fill in the rest of the drying rack. Next, before it becomes nighttime, I want to make a dew collector. So I grab the silk rope I started making earlier, and I place a dew collector inside of the bedroom. Now I have an easy water source to drink from every morning after I wake up. It's at this point I'm starting to feel like my base actually feels like a base. I put some food storage boxes in the bedroom, and that is everything I wanted to do today done. With the rest of the time left in the day, I start planning out my storage system. It's going to be a pretty simple system. All the bug parts are going to be on the right, everything else is going to be on the left. I'm going to have food in my bedroom because it's easy to get to, and then any common resources like sprigs, dry grass and plant fibre are just going to go outside in baskets. I spend a good amount of time just organising all the resources into their appropriate places, but after I've finished sorting everything, I go outside and take a look at my base one last time before I go to bed. The glow of the torches inside are a very welcome contrast and look very cosy compared to the dark and dangerous wilderness surrounding me. I walk inside my newly finished base, and things are feeling pretty good. I now have a place to relax and let my guard down, at least a little bit. But I won't be able to do much more tonight, so I put my newly built bedroom to use and get some sleep. And that's it. The 7 days are up, and I managed to complete all the goals I set for myself. I have a cozy base, armor and weapons, and a good amount of supplies. But there are many more challenges to complete in the park, so if everyone likes this style of video from me, I will try and continue to make these bigger and better as time goes on. I'll probably continue this style of theme, maybe going for 28 days, or I might just go for a full 100 days next. But, as always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.